just like one easier path to make sure myself will really implement on those things I have read. So can you show us how?
Yeah, implementation is what it's all about. If we read and we don't do anything with the information, what have we gained, right? They say knowledge is power. I say knowledge put into action is power, and that's what we're talking about here. So, a couple of things I would share with regard to increasing the likelihood you're actually going to execute on what you read. I would start with massaging, if you will, how you currently take notes. Chances are you take notes the way I used to, and that was as I go, as I read, I take notes and underline and write in the margins or write in a pad of paper or what have you, things that I want to remember or execute on. Now I have sort of forced myself, and this is a good thing, to allow my reading to kind of flow uninterrupted, at least for a section, if not a whole chapter, and limit myself, Kelly, to just making simple marks that take no time at all. So, for something that I do want to remember and act on, I'll put a little asterisk or a star and just continue reading and not worry about it any more than that. For something that maybe I'm not sure I understand, or maybe I even question whether or not I agree with it, I'll put a question mark and keep reading. If it's a quote that I think or something the author has said in an eloquent way that I just want to maybe use in a talk in some point in the future or some other way, just want to remember it, I'll just put a Q next to it. Now, when I get to the end of the chapter or the end of that section, then I'll go back to just those markings and I'll take notes on those markings. So what I'm doing is in one sitting, I'm just reading. I'm not trying to read and take notes simultaneously or take notes as I go. I just read, and once I'm done reading a section or chapter, then I just take notes. I find that when I practice it that way, I'm much more likely to then act on the information because I'm being very intentional about how I take the notes. Now, from those notes, it's important that they don't just stay in our notes, especially those things you've starred that you truly want to act on. You've got to have a planner. You've got to have a system for taking those things and turning them into actions, into to dos inside your planner. So I'll take those starred things and I make a list. I keep a tally, a page just for the things I've starred in a book that I want to take action on. And then as the days and weeks progress, I will gradually, a few at a time, move some of those things into my to-dos, into my planner, so that I'm actually acting on them. When it comes to, you didn't ask about retention necessarily, but this also helps with retention. And something else I've begun doing recently, and this just turned my world upside down. It's such a simple thing. I never was much of an audiobook listener unless I was having to leverage commute time to for books, which I used to have to do. Now I don't have a commute, so I have a little more freedom with when I read, and I like physical books. But I more recently have begun to combine reading a physical book while the author or voiceover artist reads it to me from the audiobook version. And I'll speed up that audiobook version to 1.5 or 2 times speed. It's almost like uh, cheating your way to speed reading in one sense. You know, we can listen, we can comprehend far faster than we can speak. And when we just sit and read a book, oftentimes because we were taught to read out loud as kids, usually we read each word aloud in our minds, and that can really slow the process down and make it almost laborious. But when I'm letting the person who voiced the book read it to me as I follow along in the physical book, and I can speed them up to 1.5 or 2 times speed or what have you, I can get through a book much faster. And that speed leaves me with no other choice but to make some of those markings I was talking about as I go along. When the chapter's done, I stop. And again, that's when I take more serious notes. So it's combining two mediums together. And the last thing I would say, especially when it comes to retention and increasing the likelihood you're going to take action on what you've read, is look for opportunities to teach the material. That forces you to really synthesize it and distill it down into its simplest form when you go to explain it to other people. That could be one on one. That could be in a meeting at work. That could be more formally as part of a book club, or maybe in a presentation to your local, chamber of commerce or what have you.
Wow, I gotta try that then. To to combine the audio part
Yeah.
and the written text. Oh, I never try. I
Sure.
mean, I always do either or. Like,
Yeah.
okay, when I'm in the gym, obviously I only go to audio,
Sure.
and then so when I come home, I will flip if it's a paper a copy, not digital one.
Yeah.
I will flip to where that I will just kind of listen to. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I never thought of combine both, huh? I
I
gotta
love it.
give a try on that. And if you like this video and this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share with others so more crisis center leaders have the opportunity to consume this type of valuable content. Before I go, I just want to remind you that you can click on the screen to go to the next business growth videos, and I will see you in the next episode.